Guys, I can't believe you banished me. The one person that had all of your backs. The one person that was faithful and loyal to you. But I'm a loyal traitor the whole time. Oscars. That was hilarious.
What a roundtable, guys. Yo. Traitors. They leveled up. I don't know it's because it's like people making bad moves or people making good moves, but moves nonetheless. What'd you guys think of this episode?
Thanks for watching, guys.
Remember to like,
comment,
and subscribe.
We're covering all your favorite reality shows like Traitors,
The Challenge, Love is Blind, and a lot more.
Come share some laughs and sip some tea
with the Matches Mayhem fam.
Or else. Now, back to our regularly scheduled programming.
You know, here's my concern with how it ended is like, who do we have left that makes entertaining TV? Except for Tom Sandoval. I mean, we have him to bank on. But overall, I love the challenge this time. I love Ari's outfit again. His little ponytail. His little Alice in Wonderland.
Alan.
Yeah.
The Ari bug has spread.
I've infected your brains.
Yeah. I loved his little, his little tail he had going. But yeah, I get worried because, and I don't know how. I mean, she had a free ride, but that's all I'll say for now.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great episode in terms of I loved the challenge. You know, there was some interesting things that happened, but like you said, we're coming down to the end game. It's almost time. I mean, I was shocked of how few people were left. You know, when I was looking at it, it just felt like we had a full cast of so many people like a couple of weeks ago, and now it's just withered away. So yeah, we're in the end game now.
I mean, yeah, they're dropping like flies, and you're right. Some of the like our favorite characters, like competitors, are going home. But I have faith in the show, in putting them in positions that are just going to make them entertaining, even if it's not the cast members that have been most entertaining. But from wire to wire, this episode is great. So this week we start in the turret. Danielle and Carolyn have a decision: should they murder or should they recruit? And last week, on last week's pod, Raquel and I were like back and forth, like we weren't sure what they were gonna do, which is nice because it's nice when it's not predictable. Did you guys think they made the right move in choosing to murder one of the Faithfuls rather than recruit a new traitor?
I thought they should have recruited, but I don't think they would have came to a consensus on who they should have recruited, which is why I think they opted to murder. If they were aligned, recruitment would have been better, just to have somebody else that isn't them kind of have inside information, other viewpoints, and just a target that isn't them. I would have probably opted for definitely not Brittany, more towards Gabby. I probably would have opted for her, honestly, because nobody suspects her. She's very, she knows a lot of things. She has connections. I probably would have opted for her.
Nora,
I personally
I want to ask you, because Danielle was trying to be slick and say, well, we should do Brittany to bring in her bestie in there. Did you see through that, or did you believe that she would have voted out with Carolyn?
They were gonna use that to take out Carolyn. She was trying to have backup to help her take out Carolyn. I totally agree. I would have never said yes to Brittany as Carolyn, so I think that was smart. But I do think they desperately needed another traitor because Danielle, thinks she's safe. She's riding golden here. But she picked somebody anyways at the end who people already, think is a traitor too. So, you need to find somebody. I would have, instead of killing Sam, I would have brought him on as a third traitor, because he's in with the guys. They all trust him. He's very quiet. He's not outspoken. He could have helped ride that wave, if they had any hope to actually make it at the end. But we knew this was coming. Those two couldn't work together.
Yeah. It was tough. There's also this kind of like idea floating out there that the traitor has to be a woman because they've gotten 2 guy traitors. So I liked the idea of Gabby too, because then you can try to feed her to the wolves and kick her out. But there's just too much distrust there. If they would have brought in Sam, I don't know. He probably would have taken over and like done his thing and got them out, because they just don't work well together and their moves are very sus. But like you said, Nora, they ended up murdering Sam, who's kind of another voice at the table, and that's kind of been a trend. If somebody steps up at the table, they get murked out of the game real quick. Was that the person if you decide to murder, was that the guy or person you would have chosen?
Yes. He was too quick on his feet last episode on how to figure out who's a traitor and not, based off of asking him, oh, well, what's he wearing? What did you see when you got to the church? It was very quick-witted, and we haven't seen anyone be like that on top of it yet in this current season to try to establish, so.
And his plan was, like you said, his plan was a great plan, and it would have worked if he kept it close to his vest. Like, he kept it close to his chest. Like, he kept it to himself, and he asked these questions later on, like when they weren't at breakfast. I think that would have worked out, better. Like, in casual conversations, like, oh, so, man, it was crazy. Like, so how did it work? Like, how did Ari look? And then he asked all 3 of the people, and then whoever had, the different answers, then they knew they were a traitor.
You just called him Ari again.
So, Ari again.
Alan.
Why is it Ari?
Please forgive me, Alan.
I can't even remember the character that we're referencing, because I don't think his name is Ari on that show.
It's not. It's Eli. It's Eli.
All right, Alan, your new nickname is Ari. After Sam is murdered at breakfast, the last person, because everybody was considering whether it was going to be him or Dylon. And Dylon comes in and he's like, wow, I can't believe I survived. It must mean that one of the traitors is close to me. And I thought, it was like, wow, what a genius thought. Like, Dylon is just continuously getting good ideas. If only he would like stick to them. And he's like, it's got to be Danielle. Like, we're super close. And for some reason, I'm still here, even though nobody thinks I'm a traitor. So, I mean, what do we think of Dylon's game this season?
I think it's up and down. At first, I was impressed with him and his wit, and then he kind of fell in with Rob. And once he did that, his game kind of took a step back. Rob took the lead. He was kind of fanboying over Rob, Boston Rob, and I think that's kind of where I got a little put off from him. I was like, come on, you had so much potential. It's obvious in front of you, but because of, his attachment to Rob, he was just blind, awestruck, blind struck, whatever. But he just wasn't at the top of his game. So I kind of was put off. But then now he's coming back into his own, especially after he saw that, okay, this guy was a traitor right in front of me. I think now he's getting back to, okay, like this, I need to be focused. I need to look at the people around me, because I'm still here, and he shouldn't be here by all accounts. Like, he's been leading the charge a lot, and like you said, usually those people are outspoken. Those outspoken people are usually sent home, and he wasn't. And I mean, they said it. Kate said it exactly what I've been thinking all season. He's very reminiscent of Pete from last season. So, I mean. Yeah, I mean, I think now his eyes are open and he's now more focused. So I think going forward, he's going to make a lot better moves.
I hope. I'm concerned that he's still kind of, I don't know. He seems good, and then all of a sudden, like you said, it's like he's up and down, up and down. I can't really tell if I trust his judgment on everything. I don't know, but I guess it's also the game. How can you always be right about everything? It's meant to be that way, to shake you up.
One thing that's interesting about him is he knows a lot of like the shows, and he's watched these people on TV. And sometimes I feel like, especially with Rob, it affects his like thinking a little bit. because I'm not saying this in an offensive way. He is a fan of some of these people because he watched the show just like all of us, and that might skew sometimes his perceptions. Carolyn tries to use that at the Roundtable a little bit too, which we could talk about in a bit. But it's just interesting sometimes how he sees other players, and he almost has a history. I think at times it helps, and sometimes it hurts too. So we'll see, because I think coming down to the last few episodes, if he could survive, I think he's a strong player to win. We get to the challenge of the day, this chess inspired challenge. I loved it. Do you guys agree? Like, I thought it was a great way to reset the board, pun intended, and see where everybody stands and everybody's opinions. It was messy, right?
Yeah, I liked it. It reminded me of the wheel one where they spin, but this time instead of spinning, it's a little bit more abrasive, kind of head on, because it's a smaller amount of them and more direct, of like, it could, it's not just those people, it's exactly who is on the board, which is all of them.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of, like you said, of that one. I think the goal is the same, to kind of, well, it actually was better in a sense because the Traitors got to pick the people. So I love the game for so many different reasons. Alan's outfit was awesome. I peeped it at breakfast. I was like, all right, looks like it's Alice in Wonderland themed in a sense. He was giving off clues, one piece at a time. I figured it'd be chess based. But he did say something about the Seer, which during that same clues that he was given. So we know that might come to play some in the next episode. But I loved the game. Thought it was very good. It gave a level of depth to the game, because as a trader, your goal is, there's so many ways you can do this, and I think they opted for the plan of Danielle kind of let Caroline take the lead, which was a good move for her because Caroline doesn't know what the hell she's doing. So, I mean, there's a lot of thought put into it, and I don't think they took advantage of it, because this was a great way to get the heat off of them and put it onto any one of the house guests, like any one of them, to, get the heat onto them, and they didn't take advantage of it. But Danielle kind of did good in a sense. The only good thing she's done so far was this move of letting Caroline do it, because Caroline kind of just shot herself in the foot and, put the target on her. And she was horrible in this game. She was horrible. But I did like that they brought back Poverty and Kate back. Kate looks like she is going to be a franchise staple. And, people love her. I love her. Keep bringing Kate back.
I have a big history with Kate. I binged all her seasons of Below Deck. She is an amazing... I wouldn't say she's actually an amazing boss, because I wouldn't like to work for her, but she's definitely a boss. Can't take that away from her. And now seeing her back here, and I also like Parvati. I thought Parvati's season was cut a little short mostly because of Dan's dumb moves, kind of exposed her a little bit last season. But those two, I think, had the right energy, because they're both not afraid to state their opinions of people. I love their commentary, is like the side talk on everybody. So that was a good inspired choice to bring a couple of people back. And it's kind of scary how accurate they were. They don't know the game up to now, and they were kind of clocking it. They immediately clocked that Tom was way too arrogant. They clocked that Dylan is a pretty good competitor. And they clocked that Carolyn was a little weird in her decision making, and that stood out. So,
but do you think they don't know, or you think they came in knowing,
like, who the Traitors were?
Yeah,
I would hope that they didn't know, and because it just makes it cooler that because they're experienced in the game, they can kind of see these dynamics. If they told them, it's like, all right, well, maybe they prepped them to say the right comments at the right time. But it's cooler if I believe they didn't know.
Yeah, it was definitely fun for them. I wasn't a parody fan at first, but she kind of grew on me a little bit, just a tad.
I think I didn't like her arc last season where she was trying to play outside of, I guess she was a villain on Survivor. And she was like, I want to turn it around. And it's just like, nah, if you're good at it, play it to your advantage. Don't reject it because, I think it suits her much, much better. Victor, you mentioned Carolyn's gameplay here. I would, like Nora, what did you think about her making these decisions? I think it's more her mess up than Danielle's success, but what do you think?
I just don't get it. Like, I don't get why. I don't know. I guess it's just like, I don't know. I don't understand why she had to be so boisterous. Like, you know how she's saying the whole time, like, nobody listens to me. No, yeah, because you're stupid. Like, you say stupid things and you don't think about things. So it's like, this is why people don't listen to you. And maybe you shouldn't listen to yourself. Like, I just think it was so stupid on her part. She had a free ride to not stand out because she's so weird, she's so this, she's so that. Then in the one challenge that can really show a traitor's cards, you decide you're going to be Miss Boisterous, Miss Straightforward, Miss da-da-da, and then trying to backtrack it. Like, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that. No, you did say that, and they all heard you, and they're all looking at you. And I'm glad Dolores called it out. I mean, I know, multiple of them, are kind of saying it in their interviews, but Dolores is like, well, you definitely said, it should be Tom. She's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Yeah, bitch, you were the only one. When you saw nobody else doing it, you should have just shut up, and it should have hit you then. Stop. But she couldn't stop the whole time. I don't know.
Yeah. My thing is that she should have just kept her mouth shut. Like she's been, nobody's listening to you all season. Great. Keep doing that. Keep at it. If you guys, the goal is of course the goal is to increase the bank, right? So, but at the same time, the main goal is to not be found out. So all she had to do was not say anything like she's been doing all season and she would have been fine. Like she would have been fine. You don't need to raise your hand. You don't need to push so much for it because people notice these things, and she was just apparently obvious, like her facial expressions, like everything she was doing, it was obvious she was a traitor.
Yeah, she was way too eager to give her answers there. The one thing that sort of made sense was she put her name as like the irrelevant player. I would have been suspicious of the people whose names didn't come up and be like, why didn't Danielle's name come up from any of these things? It's like, because you're probably picking others than yourself to not call attention, which only makes it call attention. So the fact that Carolyn decided to put her name on that one, I don't think was bad. It's just that she advocated so much and for it, and then she was right. And I was like, okay, that's weird.
Well, see, I disagree with that because I think that she shouldn't have put herself on it because you need to look at it from the group's perspective. And from what I've seen in the show, the most irrelevant person would have been Tom. So I feel like he should have been on there because people like literally just dismiss him. We all do it. Everybody in the show does it. Like, okay, it's just Tom. So I would have put him on there.
He would have had them all then.
Huh?
Come on. He got Rob out.
He got Rob out?
He stood up to him and said, it's got to be you, when nobody else would.
Yeah.
Including the leader, Dylan, which I thought that was a weird one. I wasn't sure about that one.
Oh, about him being the leader?
Yeah.
You don't think Tom's the leader?
Nah, I probably would put, like, Ivar as the leader.
Ivar?
Yo, everybody talks to Ivar. Everybody wants to...
I do have something with Ivar I want to get into after this. But for leader, I would have picked... I would have picked Dylan.
I want to get your opinions on what the Traitors chose, what the Failthfuls chose, and what we here as Matches of Mayhem would have chosen. So let's start with the snake. Traitors chose Brittany, and Failthfuls guessed Brittany correctly. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of who else would be technically, because we know who the traitors are, those are the snakes. But if we didn't know, then sure, it kind of makes sense. Like, because of those comments and everything, it's who I probably would have voted for too, like just because of the comments the night before or whatever.
Yeah, if you look at everybody else that's there right now, I don't think there's anybody else that would be more snakish than her.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah.
But the one thing there is, actually, I agree. So Matches of Mayhem official choice is Brittany. I think that's good for her. If she was a traitor, she would have never said, I'm the snake. So now you've completely cleaned her slate and said, why would I call myself a snake? So she should put that in her back pocket, knowing what's coming up soon for her. The skull, who's the biggest threat to the traitors? So the traitors answered Brittany again. And the faithful guessed, well, Tom really just pushed himself to be the skull. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah, Tom. The traitors picked Brittany, but the faithfuls picked Tom. Well, Tom picked Tom, and they all just went it.
Yeah. Is he the biggest threat to the traitors?
No.
I don't think so.
Is Brittany the biggest threat?
I don't think so at all either. No.
So that's where I would put Ivar.
Yeah.
He's been sort of right every time like they vote on a traitor. He votes the traitor.
Ivar.
And he has such a loyal group with him. Like, people all trust him.
I would go. The options here are very limited, but I would probably go with Dylan out of them. And I would put Ivar as somebody that I want to say has been masterminding a lot of stuff in the background. I was telling Nora, I was like, yo, and I've been saying it early in the season. Ivar has like these very loose lips that, you tell him something and he'll tell the person directly. He's like, oh yeah, your name's being thrown out there. By who? By Wes. By Danielle. By he'll, a lot of the people that went home, I think was due to Ivar. Like his loose lips and saying something, because then he put these people kind of like Rob when when Wes was saying his theory, he was the one that told Rob about Wes's theory. He's saying this now to Danielle about Carolyn. He's giving these people a heads up.
This episode, didn't he also reveal to Danielle that her name was out there? And
yeah,
you're right.
So Snake could have been him, but not everybody knows that, right? So that's something we know, but I would have said him just based off that. But Ivar, man, he's just, if he's not a traitor, he would have made a great traitor. I tell you that. I think he would have made a great traitor.
Yeah. All right, so we'll give our skull we'll split the skull, give half to Dylan and half to Ivar. Wolf, who is the leader of the pack? The traitor said Tom. The faithfuls guessed Dylan. And I gotta go with the traitors here. Tom is the leader. Put some respect on his name. If 100%. It wasn't for him, they wouldn't have gotten the money for the He has the musical
beautiful
ear.
voice. Beautiful voice.
Oh God, I don't know. Leader probably die. I don't know. I probably Dylan. Is it Dylan? Dylan? I don't know.
It's Dylan. Eric's over here calling him Dylan because he spit hot fire.
He has fire at the round table. He spits the truth. Yeah.
So I'd probably go with him. He seems to kind of, and people want to be close with him too. I know Ivar has that too, but you see it in like Danielle and Caroline. I don't know how to say these people's names. Yeah, I would pick him.
Yeah, I would have picked Dylan too, just because he hasn't shown much leadership recently, but overall, out of the people we have, I would say he's typically the most outspoken. But I could also see a case for Ivar too, because he does bring up. He's sometimes the one at the round table that starts, "Hey, both your names have been thrown up there. You guys should talk because it's gonna be one of you two." So I can see the case for either or. But overall, I would say Dylan. Just looking at it, who people view as a leader. Definitely not Tom. I don't know what they were thinking.
Right. The Matches of Mayhem pick is Dylan. I protest and say Tom, but I'm outvoted. So this is still a democracy, at least within this podcast. And then the mouse. Carolyn, as the traitor, said, "I'm the mouse," and then she, as the faithful, said, "I'm the mouse," and so that was the choice. Who's the mouse? Who's the voice who's most irrelevant?
Well, but they were all saying it's not her because they're like, we don't feel that way about you. But from the outside, it definitely looks like it because they all think she's a little cuckoo. But now I'm questioning. I'm like, well, they really don't view her as that, but I don't know. Nobody seems to take her serious.
I think they're being polite. I think they don't, but they
Okay.
don't want to say they don't want to say it, because like you said, she has her quirk. She's a little weird, so
Yeah.
you don't want to acknowledge that sometimes.
Yeah.
People don't want to acknowledge it. So I do think it's Caroline or Tom, but
Yeah.
usually it's the same with them. It's like, oh, it's just Tom Sandoval. He doesn't really have anything.
Yeah.
It's just Caroline. She's just crazy. She's quirky. She's this, that. So I don't know. I can see either or.
Can I make a case for Dolores?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
because yes, Tom says everything, like he just says a bunch of crazy stuff and everybody ignores him, but she's now 3 tables in a row voted for Tom when nobody's looking at Tom. You're not trying to find a traitor. Everybody knows Tom is not the traitor because it's such a terrible gameplay. So why do you keep voting for him? You're not helping. Like, imagine today ends in a stalemate. Her decisions are nothing.
I don't think it's that she's not being heard. I think she just has a vendetta, and they know that. Like, ever since he said her name, she's been saying his name, is being petty. So I don't think it's... I think people do listen to her, and she does have a voice. It's just that her choice at the table isn't made on any facts. She's just getting back at Tom.
I would say that points toward irrelevance then. Like,
well, no, I think
it's
they
so irrelevant. Like, none of your gameplay is relevant to what we're actually trying to do. I would be pissed as a faithful. Like, what are you doing? Like,
they should be pissed,
That is
especially
true.
with that round table like that they just had. It's not Tom. Is that a point at the game where it's the end game and it's getting lower? It's not Tom. So vote on people that's actually going to be, because you might keep a traitor because you didn't vote the right way.
Facts.
so, but we're voting Tom here.
Yeah,
Most
I mean,
irrelevant.
yeah. But
I'm
he
gonna go
did get,
Christian. I'm switching to Carolyn because with the smaller amount of people and after his big win that he got, I think people are now a little bit more open to listening to him. Whereas Caroline still has the same, it's Caroline, quirky, whatever. So I'm going to go with Tom.
You're going Tom or Carolyn?
Tom. Oh, no, sorry. Caroline. Sorry.
Nora?
Carolyn.
Well, I'm voting for Tom, like Dolores. No.
You're putting Dolores. Okay.
Because my vote is irrelevant. So Tom is the mouse. Yeah, so great game. And off of that, like, now there's a lot more being revealed. So after the challenge, now we have a Dylan who's switching gears from Danielle to Carolyn as the potential traitor. And they all start to kind of like go out and have their conversations. Danielle hears that her name's up because of Carolyn, and she goes to work. Anything to say there before we get to the round table?
My question, I did have a question because I was curious about this. Well, the game is going. Danielle is acting like she's calculating all these moves. Do you feel these are actually calculated game moves during that game? Like having Carolyn say her name, having Carolyn pick this person, or are these just falling in her lap?
Falling in her lap. I think she was just, when they were doing the gameplay, she at first started to argue saying, what? We're going to choose. And then she was like, oh, wait, let me let her cook and let me let her sink her own boat. I don't even have to do anything. And that's the smartest thing she's done thus far. But she didn't necessarily like calculate it. And she's just, one thing she is observant. I'll give her that. Because she had all her evidence laid out at the round table and was just like putting it there. So it fell in her lap, but she scooped it up.
With her hat? Her bucket hat? She scooped it up. Fucking hat.
Oh, God, that hat was horrendous. But yeah, this was also instigated by Ivar telling Danielle, "Hey, your name's being thrown out there," and then she went to work. If she didn't work as hard, maybe she would have went home. So Ivar again manipulated the situation, but Caroline tried to do the sob, story act with Dylon. You could tell he was a little bit feeling it. He's a little emotional, but he was also like, "I've been watching you. Since the game." He said, "I've been watching you. You're making she was obvious a traitor." So he's been peeping that, and I think his mind was already made up at that point. I think he still suspects Danielle, but he's saving that for next week.
Early in the game, that would have worked on him. Earlier in the game, yeah. But his heart's been scarred. He's been hurt now. Boston Rob totally got him, and now he's like, I can't let the emotions get in the way. It's poor Dylon.
A lot of crying for him.
One thing I wanted to ask you guys, I can't remember exactly where in the episode this happened, but Danielle did try to put this case out there, which was the traitors at the Roundtable, they all attack. They all attack, which is like a dumb thing to say because I don't agree. Like, everybody attacks. Wes attacked, Sierra attacked.
Which it is stupid. I'm like, see, and that raises, once again, she's pulling a Carolyn move. Saying too much when sometimes you just need to shut up and let things start going. Like, she's pushing this narrative that's like, what do you mean? Like, well, people who stood up, who aren't the traitors, that's how we got traitors out. Like, I don't know. I'll be surprised if she doesn't go, but we'll see.
I mean, the name of the game between these two is who's going to fuck up more, because it's like the levels they're messing up. It's like they're both going home, but who's going to go home first? Because Caroline's over here going like, why would she have to lie? And we're like, what was the lie? Like, I was asking her, I was like, what's the lie? What's the lie? Like, this big lie that's obviously so big that everybody should know what this lie is, and almost nobody knew what the lie was, but maybe it's her irrelevant voice. They're like, just ignoring her. So when we get to the table and they're like, what's the lie? She said, I said Brittany's name. That's the lie? Like, that's the lie that you've been running around telling the house? I don't know, man. It's just been bad decisions between the both of them.
Let's jump into the round table with that. Carolyn and Danielle start forming their arguments. Carolyn accuses Danielle of this big lie, specifically referencing that Danielle told Brittany that Carolyn has been saying Brittany's name. Nobody remembered it. It happened like 5 Failthfuls ago. And I don't think she laid a case that strongly, but there was that. And then Danielle fired back saying Carolyn acts dumb like Columbo, which it's not in my bag. I've never watched Columbo. So, and implying that Carolyn's suspicions were nothing of Danielle. And Danielle hasn't said anything because she's scared to death of Carolyn. Yeah. There's a lot of bullshit on that table. Whose bullshit are you buying a little bit more than the other?
Honestly, at that point, I would have been like, I don't give a shit which one of these two goes home. They both need to go home. So just remember this for next. You might be comfortable. Both of you have to go over the next week. Like, I don't know. They're both... It's horrible on both ends. I think just Caroline... I said it. I was like, Carolyn's going home. After the game, and when Dylan peeped that weirdness, and when Dylan sat down and straight up told her, I mean, he told her which way it was going to go. He said, you're really going to make me have to pick. And she's like, what do you mean? Between two of my good friends, you and Danielle. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, she had no idea. He was saying, like, look, girl, I peeped it. I saw it. There's no changing my mind now. Like, people have seen you are a traitor after this game. Like, so I knew she was going. There's no doubt now. It's like 100% where Danielle might be like 98%.
Yeah. She didn't do enough work to try to get the other people. She kind of said it at the beginning of the episode, talking to Dylon, if I do this, you're going to back me up, right? We have to all kind of be in agreement. She needed to put in a little bit more work trying to convince like Dolores not to make dumbass decisions, or Ivar to get him in her corner stronger. Didn't work. But Danielle's argument was equally like, I think she's a traitor because I'm going to compare her to a 1970s television character.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
They,
Acts dumb.
they both had no arguments, but Caroline had like zero argument. Like she lied. Why would a faithful ever have to lie? Faithfuls lie all the time, probably. Yeah, just to cover their own ass. So yeah, faithfuls do lie. That's how they stay in the game. That wasn't a good, and that was her only thing. And then a lot of it was emotion. She told Danielle, "Don't you do those fake tears." 2 minutes later, she's the one crying, and I'm like, "Come on, man!" Like, I mean, Danielle's arguments were moot. They were nothing irrelevant, but the suspicion was already cast on Caroline, so she's going home. Everybody is already looking at Danielle next, so I think she's going home next. Unless they vote Brittany for some reason, but everybody already suspects Danielle. And looking at the at the trend of it, the traitors seem to want to get each other out, and that's all they need for the next one.
Mm-hmm. I just want to shoot Carolyn a little bit of bail here, because I do think she had more ammunition, and she's not as observant as Danielle. That's not in her bag, unfortunately, because she had, going back to when she gave away stars at that one riddle challenge. It's like, why are you doing that?
Yep.
Her fake emotions. She called out her fake tears. You could have, like, every breakfast you cry for everybody. Like, what's up with that? And then this lie that she told Dylan, Gabby, Brittany, that Danielle told, that Carolyn said Brittany's name. Who else did Carolyn tell? Like, ask everybody at the table, did I ever say Brittany's name to anybody around here?
Yeah.
No? So only Danielle saying that I called out Brittany? What does that mean?
Yeah.
What is that even doing? It's like, because it's a stupid game move by a stupid traitor. So, but you just needed to, like, present it in a way that shows her dishonesty throughout the game. But
yeah.
But she said that's not her forte, so that's that's why she got out. She had evidence or points, but she just couldn't articulate them because that's not how she plays.
She should have just stuck with her original weirdness the whole way through. You would have made it to the end. But people want to, they want a name for themselves. I feel like, sometimes you just can't stop. It's kind of like when Wes started, like, saying, and like his shit, like, just shut up sometimes. Sometimes we have to learn to shut up to better ourselves in positions in life. And that was Carolyn's big mistake, is this game. She screwed herself over.
And maybe she did feel like the mouse in that house, where she was never being heard, especially in the turrets, that she got one chance to be heard, and Danielle's like, fine, choose all the chess pieces you want. And she sunk herself with that. So Carolyn goes home. She's banished from the castle. Danielle's the lone traitor, but Alan, a.k.a. Ari, a.k.a. Floofs Fluglies, comes in and says, you have one final chance to recruit a traitor, and then that's it. Traitor season is closed. And she chooses Brittany. I think it it ends before the reveal, but what did you guys think of that choice?
Bad move.
Stupid. Yeah. We knew that was coming because she said, I have to get Brittany next to me. She trusts me.
Lord.
And, like, I don't know about that, but crying about how she had to get...
Why did you make her sound... like she's on...
That was the feels I was getting.
Gosh. On my papa's bucket hat that I wear every day, I need to get Brittany in here.
I feel like that bucket hat needs its own segment, because how is it so big but so fitted to her head? Like, I couldn't understand. Like, it was the biggest bucket hat, but it didn't go low. It was still sitting. Like, I don't know. I've never seen anything like that in my life, but nonetheless,
So but on the bucket hat, very interesting that she found a bucket hat that's the same exact color as her hair. Because that was like, I don't know where one begins and what the other one ends. We got a bit of like a cone head but round head situation.
I was thinking cone head.
When I saw the bucket hat, I was like, I'd vote this bitch out today just for that dumbass bucket hat. Like, that would have been it for me. Just because I couldn't stop staring that. Like, that would have been it. Like, you're going home for that one. But anyways, yeah, we knew she was going to go up there. But why you would pick a traitor? Why would you bring somebody in as a traitor when people are already saying her name as being a traitor, unless it's to cover your ass? But I really don't think that. I think she thinks they're going to go to the end together. So now everybody's saying your two names. Like, why would you pick somebody? It made no sense to me, but whatever.
Yeah, it was a obvious move. Brittany even says it herself. She was like, am I dying? Are they recruiting me? If she's recruiting me, why? It's kind of the obvious choice. And luckily they get a murder tonight, so it's harder for them to understand that somebody's been recruited. So there's that at least. But I don't think it was a good move. It was a bad move, actually. Picking somebody you're already cool with. If either one of you get out, they're going for the other one next, because Gabby over here, big brain Gabby, you've been working in the shadows, just observing and surviving. I think she's going to be onto him. And I think definitely one of them are going home next. And if they do, the other one's going home right after.
I think I can't even say if it's a good or bad move, because I think Danielle's fate is predetermined. For Brittany, you need to right now turn on Danielle and prove your faithful bona fides by saying, yeah, I believe it. Now you know it's Danielle. It's like, go and it's like, hey, I know we were thinking Danielle. We were thinking Danielle. I agree. It should be her. And now it's like you guys got 4 traitors. And
that would be epic.
Maybe everybody thinks, well, there has to be one more. There would have been a recruitment at some point. But the last traitor, you got them, or you helped get them. And so now you put some, respect on your name as a faithful. So if Brittany turns on her immediately, I think she could save herself.
Problem with that is it would be like Big Brother all over again. And I don't know. I don't know with Danielle's mental health. Like, even when she came into this game, she was still crying about Big Brother from 15 years ago or whatever, however many years, 10 years ago.
Wait, what happened again?
Brittany turned on her and ended up sending her home. I think she either put her up for a limb or was the deciding factor to send her home. And they were supposed to be kind of like friends or whatever, so she completely backstabbed Danielle. But I don't think they were ever that close in the game, just Danielle thought they were. So she held that against Brittany all these years and was literally on the first episode in the car, like, crying about it when somebody's asking her, like, oh, like, whatever, what happened? And she's like crying. She's like, and she backstabbed me. And that's why Brittany was so scared when it was Rob in the hood at the beginning. And he's like, if you come shake his hand, you can send home whoever you'd like. If and Brittany's like, well, this could be like her way of getting back at me and making the, so I'm like, so Brittany did that. She'll have to like change her name, go undercover, because I feel like Danielle will show up to her house and like stab her or something. I don't know. But it would be amazing. But will she do it?
Man, for the content, do it, Brittany.
Do it.
Please.
Do it.
Please.
Stab her.
I really liked Brittany in her Big Brother season. She was funny. She was witty. She wasn't the best game player. She didn't go that far because of her gameplay. So, I mean, but I'm really disappointed in her in this so far. I haven't really seen that Brittany that I'm used to. So I'm like, come on, this would be your chance, girl, to like do it. Do something.
Full circle. Bring it full circle.
Yes.
Do it. Do it. I say do it. But it's leaning towards Danielle anyway, right? So she doesn't really have to do much except
just
follow the
tip
table.
it over. Be a deciding vote and tip it over. If you, Gabby, who's already saying it's giving traitor on traitor, Tom, I don't know. Sometimes Tom seems convinced, and then sometimes he's like, not. I don't know.
Not in this game. Not in this world.
Honestly, if she was smart, because Brittany is more witty than Tom, is going and convincing Tom of it undercover, kind of being like, it is crazy. You know, we've seen the traitors now keep turning on themselves. And this is like the last big fight. It probably is a traitor. Like, she's probably a traitor. If you could get Tom to get his little cojones to do what he did with Big Rob for this, she could sit back and just let it play out and it work in her favor. But
and fuck Danielle, you don't need her as a friend. Well, you got, especially if you win the money.
You haven't been friend all these years.
Yeah.
So who cares?
And fuck that, because she brought you into the worst situation right now, which is like, oh, you in a bad spot and you pulling me into it? Nah, that's messed up. All right. I think, man, can't wait. This was an epic episode. I hope they just keep going up. But
yeah. Wait. We have one last thing. The secret power that they're going to release next episode.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot
about Seer. That. Yeah. We don't know what it is. Speculation is that the Seer can ask one person directly. Maybe it's just 101. Like, are you a traitor? And they have to answer. I don't know. I don't know what the new power is. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts, but I just want to say I do like that they're introducing this new aspect into it earlier. It was something I thought about last season about giving the faithful some kind of power or just something they could have so they don't feel completely useless. It doesn't have to be the whole game, but I don't know what the Seer ability is or what it is, but I think it's going to be good for the game.
So let's see. So I like your idea. I actually wish they would do that, where it's like, although I think there's too little people.
Yeah, I agree.
Left for the ask, and then the asking and the Seer. I think it has to be visual based. Something where
I think they're going to get clues. You won't get a straight answer, but you'll get clues. So it'll still be up to the person to figure it out and convince the other people. But I don't know.
Think it's going to be from the winner of the next challenge that's going to get the power?
No, I think personally that it'll be, instead of a shield, something you try for. Like, instead of getting a shield, you're going to seek for the...
That's true.
Yeah, okay, so not the winner, but just somebody that finds it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And they don't need to announce that they're the Seer, so maybe it's something secret that only they know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like you're the last one to, like, in the castle, and you see everybody who leaves and who doesn't. But that would be too much of a giveaway.
No. Yeah.
It has to be something fair but not OP in a sense, or something you have to work for. I don't know how they're going to do it. Like you said, I think there's too few people to introduce this, but we don't know what it is to introduce. Maybe you don't know exactly who a traitor is. Maybe you can, I don't know.
I tried putting it to, like, because the whole episode was Alice in Wonderland, so I was like, is it part of Alice in Wonderland, the Seer, like the magnifying glass? That's what I started thinking of, is like, that's why I think it'll be some context clues they'll get, but it won't be a direct answer. I don't know. I'm curious what our viewers think. I would love to know your guys' opinion on what you think it is and how you think they'll win it. Because I don't know.
Who would you want to be the Seer, and why is it Tom?
Yes. Tom would be my favorite because it'll make the best content. Because he can't understand context clues. So if it is something like that, oh God.
And he's going to, whatever he finds, he's just going to try to connect it to Dolores. And just be like,
yeah.
This Britney Spears album is here. It must be Dolores' favorite singer.
Yeah. Something about it reminded me of Italy, and she's Italian, so it has to be Dolores. Like, some stupid... Yeah.
A hat. Sitting here.
An oversized...
All right, let's see. We can't wait. Sound off. What's the Seer power, and who do you want to get it? All right, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.
Bye.